So we'll talk about light and color. Why does it make a difference? So that's something you probably, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you look at lighting, they will tell you about the color. What do you mean by color? Talking about disco lights here? No. Huh?
Is it the brightness of the light?
Kind of. It's like they call it sometimes warm, sometimes cool. What is warm?
Smash
Ready? So is this warm or cool light? Cool. Kind of bluish. We talk about the color. It means like how blue the light is. This is really cool because it's good for reading. What is warm light?
Really red light, yellow light.
Yes. Those are red lights. That's kind of warm lights. That's good for like making the color come up. Okay. So cool to warm and blue to green. So these are, they say cool. Cool is blue. Warm is very yellowish. Blue to green. It's also has to do with what color is going to bring into the atmosphere. So cool colors are preferred for visual tasks because they are better contrast for printed pages. So if you go to an office, usually you want these lights, but you don't want these lights in your house because they're kind of uncomfortable. It's going to keep you awake. So if I dim the lights a little bit here, probably you will feel asleep. So now you want some bright colors and they look good in the printing. But also if you go to bathrooms and you have this fluorescent light in the bathroom, usually in gas stations, you turn on the light and you look at your face and you feel horrified. You see every cut and nooks and pimple on your face because there's a lot of definition. You don't want that. So usually in cosmetic things, in colors where you want it to be aesthetically pleasing, you want to have some warm colors. We talked also about when you go to buy clothes, you go to buy cars, they have different lighting, depending on what they're trying to sell you and what colors they're trying to emphasize. Did you ever buy a t-shirt and it looks really cool in the store? You took it outside, like, hey, I did not buy this color. And you have to go back and change it. The lighting has big effect on that. So warm lights are preferred. They are more flattering to people's skins and clothing, so pay attention to that. And that comes with a cost. At some point, LEDs and fluorescent light had no temperature. There only comes in blue light. That's why it did not take for the longest time. People did not want that. And especially in their house, nobody wants this blue light in their houses. So until CFL compact fluorescent light took place in warm colors, nobody wanted that. The light was too bright for them. So it was not very common in showrooms and also in salons and clothing places and car shows. You did not find a lot of fluorescent light in there. So check the color index that's in the book. If you look at it, if you have the 5th version, it's on page 189. That's for the 6th edition. Let's take a look quickly at that. It's very interesting. Actually, I do have it in here. So the color temperature is measured in something called degree Kelvin. So when you go buy the light bulb now, you'll find on the side it will say the degree Kelvin. That will determine the temperature of the light. They don't tell you blue or warm because again, color is relevant. So they made it quantified by a number. So if you look at the degree Kelvins, 10,000, that's what they call it overcast sky, and they call it also full spectrum. Every company has their own jargon, so it's different. So you probably see blue light or sunlight or full spectrum, but to make it universal, we're going to use the Kelvin, degree Kelvin, which is 10,000 degree Kelvin. We go lower, that's 5,000. Call it noon sunlight, middle halide. They have different names for it. Cool white fluorescent. That's also another name. What they mean is a degree Kelvin. So the names can differ from one manufacturer to another. I know for the longest time GE used to call them full spectrum. Philips used to call them something else. So it differs. 3,000. This is the standard incandescent light or high pressure sodium. This is the ones you buy in your house for 50 cents. 2,000. Sunrise and sunset. It's like something you put in your sky. Candle flame, different names. But again, if you want to put a number on it, it's called degree Kelvin. Question. Okay. Light quality. Visual comfort. We talked about candles. We talked about lumens. So you want visual comfort. You don't want to feel you straining your eyes when you're trying to read or do the task. If you have to squint, you know you don't have enough light. If you feel exhausted, it's too bright, so that you don't want to be too bright or too dim. And we talked about reading. If you're doing a task, if you want to read, you want to see very well. And we talked also about the tube TVs, how it's exhausting to watch TV in the past. If you stare at the TV for a long time because it's too bright, you'll feel exhausted. There's a lot of strain in your eye. Also, you want uniform brightness. What does that mean? Like, look at this classroom. It's completely uniform. Bright. If you have to look at bright and dim and go back and forth, you will feel exhausted quickly. Probably those who do video gaming a lot, probably you notice that, especially if you do this activity stuff. When you go back and forth and you zoom in and out, it's exhausting with the eye. So you want uniform brightness. You don't want glare. Glare will affect the way things look. That's why when you buy LCD or LED TV, they will tell you it's anti-glare. You buy an anti-glare film that you put in your cell phone. Your phone is also anti-glare. If you go outside the sun, probably it will reflect more, so you don't want glare. Direct intense sunlight, we don't want that. That's why they tell you always have filtered sunlight. Sunlight is preferable for lighting because it's free, it's natural, and with sunlight comes two rays that we don't like. What don't we like about sunlight? Two things. Infrared and ultraviolet, both of them are not desirable. So the pupil frequent shifting, again, causes a lot of disturbance. It's also exhausting for the eye. Here is something you will see on, it became the law now to label all light bulbs in such manner. They give you the lumens, so now we know what the lumens mean, how bright this light is. They give you life expectancy based on 3 hours a day, so you can do your own math if it's different. Light appearance, cool and warm, and they give you degree Kelvins, so this is pretty warm. This is sunrise or sunset. Energy, 13 watts. You know how to calculate the consumption based on kilowatt hour price, and they have to tell you if it contains anything hazardous. Mercury, where do we find mercury? Fluorescent lights. Again, this is from 2011, still there, but you can go in and find these labels. Okay, types of common lights, incandescent lights. What does it look like?
That the big bulb?
I got a light bulb with a filament.
That's an incandescent light. It's again, it has a filament. It's mostly made out of tungsten. It heats up, and the light efficacy is very small because most of it is heat rather than just light. Fluorescent, over here, has fluorine gas in it that's ionized. We have also the small ones, it's still fluorescent, the CFL. What does CFL stands for?
Compact fluorescent light?
Compact fluorescent light, the broad one. They're becoming extinct because the LED are taken over. This is a compact fluorescent light. It's very old, they had it since I was in college. How does it work? So there's a balance inside, the consumed energy. I'll show you something cool. So this is some kind of gimmick we used to buy back in the days. Check this out. Yeah. So it is filled with gas and it has some mercury gas in it. So this is an ionization lamp. I call it Tesla lamp or something. But check it out. Actually, it does ionize the gas inside. It's under vacuum, so it's ionized, and you can light it up. Of course, it's a small one, so it does not light as much. But it's very fascinating. Go ahead.
Incandescent, it gets more heat than light.
Yes, it does.
And fluorescent, what was your description on that?
Fluorescent are 4 times more efficient than incandescent.
Those are getting out, those are getting out.
They're getting phased out because they're not as efficient as LEDs, and they also have mercury. So there's a hazard if you break this, you're gonna get some mercury vapor in your house, and you don't want that. And they're still kind of expensive compared to LEDs, and they're heavy, and they do produce a lot of heat. If you look at this bulb, I had it for 10 years. It's baked over time with heat, so it does produce some heat. Do we want heat?
No.
No, we don't want heat from light bulbs, unless you have a retail cage, which Okay. Lower pressure solute, which one are those? Those are the one you find in the stadium.
Yeah.
That takes 15 minutes to come up. They're so bright, they can be blinding. Light emitting diodes, LEDs. The LED technology has been here since the 80s. It just did not get to the point where it's used for lighting a house or flashlight until recently. But they've been there for a long time. And they're very efficient compared to other light bulbs. What else do we have? Yeah, LEDs. Neon, I think neon's just decorative, they're not that common. What about the xenon lights in cars? Somehow they came and went and nobody used them anymore.
A lot of heat.
So why do they use LEDs in cars headlights? I have no idea. Why do you think that is?
Easier to see.
Huh?
Easier to see.
Yeah, what else?
Makes it brighter.
It is bright, yeah.
You don't have to replace them as much.
Huh?
You don't have to replace them as much.
That's true, they live longer. What else? It is efficient, although we don't care about the testing in the car because we have free production.
Like the view, like you said,
The
like
view.
the sodium, the low pressure sodium at the stadium, how it has the angle and
Yeah,
circles around.
they have view on controls, you can zoom in and zoom out, and you can control the brightness as well. So they've been replacing the other lights in the car. And they also don't get hot, which is another advantage. The heat usually cooks the glass over time, so that's an advantage. So do you notice that, okay, sidetrack. Car headlights, after a while they get this film, brown film, and you have to go buy this sanding thing, and you get some kind of guy trying to scan it out between the light bulb for 20 bucks. So why is that from? That's from the heat. Yeah, the heat is reacting, and sometimes also the UV in the light that you're producing can react with the plastic. Yeah, when we used to have the glass ones, headlights back in the 80s, we didn't have this problem. Now it's the plastic, and those headlights are expensive.
Yeah.
Last time I priced the headlight was around $300-400. So 18% lights. Any pros to why do we use this? They're cheap. Heat. Heat. If you want heat, yes, that'll be good for you. What else?
Aesthetic.
They're very cheap to replace, easy to replace. They're safe in a way. If you break them, you only have shattered glass. You don't have any gas inside. This is also vacuum, right? So it can be easy to break. You don't want to put them where they can be breaked. That's why they always put some kind of guard around them. Cheap, easy to replace, very cheap, very common. You can find them anywhere. They're universal. And what are the cons? Inefficient. You get a lot of heat instead of, yeah. They don't last very long. So you always have a replacement, 6-pack somewhere. Short lifespan, again, they don't last long and efficient. And also some of them are susceptible to moisture. They have to be placed outside unless they are in an enclosure. Again, if you hit them the wrong way, they will break because they're in vacuum. And if you notice here, you gotta be careful. The connection between the stem and the glass sometimes wears out. And if it wears out, you will let some air in because what is the pressure of this light bulb inside?
Negative 14.7.
Excellent. Negative 14.7, which is vacuum. So any space or any opening will cause it to have air inside. What happens if there's air inside? It will burn quickly, it will become very bright and it just blows up. Okay, fluorescent lights. They have current running through mercury gas and other kind of gases. They used to be tubular, like big tubes. The ones you see outside are very big tubes. They still come in tubes. Somebody find a way to work this glass to make it spirally. And when these actually came out, they were $20 a piece. Very expensive. This is the CE felt, compact fluorescent lights. The pros, they are 4 times more efficient than incandescent light. And now they come with different color temperature, which means Kelvins. They can give them whatever you want: sunrise, sunset, bright, cold, whatever you want, you can get them. They come in different temperature. They last longer. I remember the expectancy of the product is 5 years or 3,000 hours. Bless you, 3,000 hours. However, they do not always deliver, especially if you put it outside without enclosure. If you look at this little little enclosure here. It can leak some moisture inside. Cons. Expensive initial cost used to be. Again, it used to be $20 a piece. It dropped down to actually $2. I don't know how much they are now, but the price did drop down in the last 20 years. Mercury content is a big issue now. So if you are replacing those, you better go with LEDs. LED, when they first came out in 2000, commercially, 2010, they were around $15 a piece. Now you can get it for $1 from Motion Job Lot or Home Depot.
I would
Very
never
cheap.
buy a cheap one.
Huh?
I would never buy
Why?
the cheap, the very cheap CFLs.
No, CFLs, no, I would not, yeah.
We screwed them in when I worked at at a hospital.
Yeah.
They wanted them, so
Yeah.
we ordered a bunch, right?
Yeah.
The buyer did, and they put them in the lamps for the people's, little lamps in their
Yeah.
offices, and they were the cost buyers,
Yeah,
the cheap ones.
yeah, true. And they also have EMI, high EMI, which is electromagnetic interference. What did we say remember last week when we talked about what some people call dirty energy or whatever, and EMI content, and what did we say about that?
It was bad.
It was bad because there's still research going about that. So they are not recommended for being close to your head or close to your body or close to somewhere where you're sitting. You want that to be far away, at least 6 feet. If you got 2 meters, that should be okay. All right, high intensity discharge, these are the sodiums. The highest efficacy, you get the most out of your power. Very intense. It saves up to 90% of the energy cost in compared to incandescent and fluorescent. Expensive energy cost, they're very expensive. The high intensity lights, floodlights are very, very expensive. Yeah, as the name implies, it's high intensity. So you cannot dim them. Where do we use them? Stadiums, parking lots, rooftops, places where you need a lot of light coming up. They're very suitable for outdoors. They built very well because they're expensive and they want to make sure they will last. They're slow acting, so you turn on the floodlight and you have to wait at least 15 minutes for it to come up with full intensity. Here it is. This is what it looks like. So it takes time to heat up until it reaches its full potential. So means to reduce energy cost. Again, as Joe said before, there's a lot of energy being wasted on lights because what? We don't pay attention to it. And again, even if it's 15 watts, if you have a 15 watt light bulb running 24/7 a month, that's around $3. 15 watts we don't pay attention to. That's a night light, but that's $3 a month. So if you have few of those, it will show to light up. That's the problem with lights. We don't pay attention, and we think they're really low cost, but it's running power over time.
So are like TVs and like computers, is that all fall under your lighting?
Yeah, they do.
That would make sense.
Yeah, they do. TV and small appliances, probably they put it under lighting. So you can relamp, change your light bulbs, especially the ones that you use for a long time. Invest in those. If you have a light that's going to be on 24/7, you can invest in relamping. You can also use motion sensors or night lights will turn on by itself during the night. Those are becoming much cheaper. And you can also use smart lights. Timers are amazing. Timers are amazing. You can buy time for $2, and now you can buy a smart plug. I have some of those smart plugs on Amazon. They're like $3. Yeah, no, you can use your phone. There is an app for that. You can use Google Home. You can say turn on kitchen lights. You can be anywhere in the world, turn off the lights and on and off in your house. They're really amazing. And you can get a 4-pack of those from Amazon for like $15. Again, those also have timer functions. So you can change your lamps, you can clean the fixtures will only affect how much light's coming through the light bulb. Get the right level or size. Do we need actually 60 watts? Do we need 15 watts? Is it too much? Is it too bright? Is it too dim? That will make a big difference. And again, an equivalent of 60 watt incandescent light will be 15 watt fluorescent light because it's 4 times more efficient. It will be 5 watt LEDs. So we can change to LEDs and get the right size. Dimmers actually are really great advantage if you have a dimmer, because sometimes we need the light to be low flush. We can also use natural sunlight. Believe it or not, there's a lot of sunlight that can go through your house. And now they have skylights that can go through the ceiling and go all the way to the first floor.
Oh, yeah.
Skylights with tubes and reflective glasses, which is free and natural. Nothing will replace natural sunlight. Just so you know, you need natural sunlight even if it's cloudy. It's not good for you. Many needs. Use the right fixture. So we talked about this light. We plugged it in and we saw how bright it is, but it's going nowhere. Why? Because it's all over the place. So use the right fixture around it to reflect the light where you need it. Floodlights are a good idea for this practice. Dimmers and snap switches or timers. I love those smart. Now they have LEDs with sensors in them. There's the motion sensor built in them, and also there's a cat cell that will know if there's enough light or not. So you can put this in closets. Once you open the closet, it's on. You turn it off. You close the closet, and it's gone. So it's motion sensor. They have those actually on hallways. So we have motion sensor here infrared. If the class is empty for 10 minutes, it will shut off the light. So
Does
it's really,
dimmer save energy
yeah,
for consumption?
it does. Dimmers? If you dim the light, it will consume less energy. So instead of 60 watt, it will consume 40 or 30.
But some dimmer itself drops the voltage for the light or what?
Yeah,
But
the light has to be dimmable. Not all light is dimmable. So some lights you can dim, sometimes you don't. And the LEDs, they're not all dimmables. You have to get a dimmable LED, so it has different kind of filament inside. So it will drop the voltage, and sometimes it will drop the amperage. I don't know how it actually, the mechanism for it, but you can buy a dimmable one that's more expensive than the non-dimmable one. Timers and sensors are really good. They're really inexpensive. Photocell activated switches, what are those? Look kind of fancy, huh? Photocell. This is the
It's like
Well,
what we have in the cars.
Switch is, it's like a variable transformer, it just transforms like, instead of at 120, you turn it down.
Yeah.
It's all, it's just a variable transformer.
It depends on the light and how you take it. The photocells are the night lights you have in the bathroom, or like in your bedroom. Is that a photocell?
On the building?
Yeah, yeah. So it senses the light and open the light, turn on the circuit or not. You will know plenty about photocells because it's what we use for oil burners. You know, there's flame, no flame.
We use those on our cars too.
Huh?
We use those on our cars too for headlights.
Yeah.
The auto switches on your headlights when there's not enough light.
Yeah, it does. Also, most cars now, they have auto headlights. So you can leave it on and it will just sense if there's light or not and dim the light back and forth. Lighting optimization. So a potential saving of 50% in light. So that's a lot of saving. Paint color selection. How does that matter? So this class 2 years ago was kind of yellow color. So no matter how much light you put in there, it kind of sucks the color. So bright color usually reflect better. You want to be clearer, you want to be reflective. Usually in bedrooms you want dimmer colors, but bright color doesn't reflect. I give you a feeling of space. So if I paint all the walls black, no matter how much light I put in here, it's going to be very dark. So paint does make a difference. That's why when you go usually to an apartment or to buy a house, usually they make the walls either white or eggshell whites to reflect more. They might put some kind of accent or trimming from the bottom, but usually you want some white colors. Ceilings are usually white because you want a lot of reflection. Paint color and font, that's in books. So if you have, you have a Kindle, if you have a Kindle, if you have books, usually they can change. They make new books actually with different prints, so it will be clear and dimmer lights, make things more readable. Reduce aesthetic lights. What are aesthetic lights? Like lights we don't need. They're just there to light up a wall or light up just for looks. So you can reduce that or actually put them with sensors. Provide spotlights where you need the light. So provide the light where you need it. At what wattage. Reduce glare by using the right contrast. Instead of increasing the brightness, use the right contrast. Task-based rooms and lighting. What does that mean? So, yeah. Very-
I would say using just the right amount of light to get whatever you want done.
Exactly. The kitchen, you need more lights. Usually when people have an island in the kitchen or a food prep area, they have light coming right to it. In some other areas, you don't need as much light. So just put right light where you need it. Don't make it all universal. All rooms will have 4 lights. It depends. So this is light output equivalency. It's from 2000, probably 13. They did not incorporate a lot of LEDs yet, but this is for the incandescent light bulbs and the lumens and how much does it consume. So you can see the equivalency. Most light bulbs are around 60 watts for incandescents. This is light output in lumens, and the equivalent for that is 13 to 15 watts in CFL. Okay. Light cost. So we did a few questions about light cost. How much does it cost you to run this light per month? This is one example. So if you need to light a room with 330 lumens, so let's say the building construction person told you we need 3,300 lumens for this place. Using 3 CFL lights, each one of them is 25 watts, and you will need that for 3 hours a day for an entire year. How much would that cost you over 2 years if the power is 15 cents? Is this realistic? How much is the power now?
It's like 20.
21?
Yeah.
It's not the same. So we did that before with the oven. So cost. How many do I have? 3 CFL light times what? 25 watts. I need to divide that by 1,000, right? Because I'm paying kilowatt hour. And that's 15 cents times 3 hours a day for the entire year. 3 hours. How many days in a year?
What year?
65 days. 2 years, oh, okay. How much do we get? Three times.
Cross between tomato and mango.
Mango?
Something called a
Like $25.
Yeah.
So that's not much.
It's like, what, just over $2 a day?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
24.6.
Why would you divide it by 1,000?
Because I'm paying for kilowatt, and this is watt.
Oh, you will live it.
This is per kilowatt. Good. What'd you come up with? 24.6. Make sense?
Yeah.
So the same thing, if I use incandescent lights, it's going to be 3 times the cost because I increased 75 watts instead of 25, which is 3 times the amount of wattage. So it's going to be 3 times as much. However, if we add the capital cost of $3 a bulb for CFLs and $1 for incandescent,
It's just, it's still the
Still,
incandescent.
still.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
so I'm still saving money. That's why we used to do this math. back in the day to convince people that even paying $5 for this light bulb over the lifetime, it should work. And as Tracy said, don't buy the cheap ones because they break and they promise you 5 years warranty and it doesn't make it to 1 month. And you have to go with the receipt and this nonsense and change it. So it's not a good idea.
So what do you times it by 3 again?
Huh?
There's 15 cents times 3 hours.
Yeah. It says 3 hours a day. Entirely.
Entire year.
Good?
So the first thing is, three CFL.
Yeah.
This is not.
Questions? Where are the oranges coming from?
Oh, no.
Who's making oranges here?
Me, I grew them in my backyard.
At least he shares, man. Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Yo, what is that?
I don't know what it is, but it's good. You love it.
I want one.
I don't have
Making me hungry now.
Put it in my mouth.
He gets it on.
Questions? I showed you the ionizing gas.
What's it called?
I did some sorcery.
Nerma?
We have 15 minutes.
Nerma.
Like,
Weird
the
name.
temperature